Okay, so I'm just going to go over the installation instructions. So if you go to Content Categories, SQL Installation Setup Instructions, you can see this Installation Setup Instructions PDF here. You open it. I already have it open. Okay. Now you're going to go to this link, and that'll open in your browser. Okay, you'll get download Microsoft SQL. You can scroll down a little bit. You get Microsoft SQL Server 2014 Express. Even if you prefer another language, I think for this, for our courses here, there's some occasional issues with languages interacting incorrectly, especially when it comes to dates and that kind of stuff. So when you're trying to submit things, it may submit incorrectly and you won't get your full marks, and we don't want that to happen. So even if you're comfortable with another language, I do suggest you try to do this with the English version, and then you just go to download. Okay, then you're going to find the Express Advanced 64-bit. I'm assuming you're on Windows 10. All Windows 10 installations are 64-bit. If you're on Windows 7, you may have a 32-bit. You'll just have to go to your system menu. So go to your control panel, find your system menu, and then look for your system type. It'll look a little different. I'm on Windows 10, so unfortunately I don't have a Windows 7 version to show you. But you're looking for your system type where it says whether it's a 64 or 32-bit operating system. Okay, so I have a 64, so I want to download this 1.1 gigabyte 64-bit version. All right, so I just click that checkbox, and then I go next, and you can see this download comes up. I click Save File, save it where I want to. Let's say I want to put it on my desktop. I'm going to go Save. And now it's going to take a little while to download, so I'm going to pause the recording until it's finished. Okay, so my download just finished. And I can just click on here to run it. Now be careful, I actually made the mistake the first time of accidentally. I'm just going to go back to the download page where I started. I clicked on download and I wasn't thinking, and I just grabbed Express 64-bit. I didn't even think about getting Express Advanced. So the advanced version actually has pretty much everything you could possibly need in SQL Server, and it will automatically install a SQL Server client for you. Client is a different piece of software. So you have a server which holds all your data and that kind of stuff, but you need another piece of software to talk to that server. Okay, so if you want all of your software, you want to get it to run, then you need to install the 1.1 gigabyte sized 64-bit version, or 32-bit if you happen to have an older machine that runs on 32-bit Windows. So yeah, just make sure you choose the correct one, the 1.1 gigabyte, and then go next and go through the process, okay? We don't need this window anymore because I just finished my downloads. I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on that file just to open it up. In whichever browser you're using, you should know how to open the file you just downloaded. So that's what I'm going to do. And then Windows asks me, my user account control comes up and says, do I want to allow it to make changes? So I click yes. I'm not sure if that got captured on the screen or whatever. Now it says choose a directory for your extracted files. I choose my directory. Now it's already got sort of a default directory for me because I've done this before. You may have to choose one, but you'll notice that I put it on my desktop, so that's a good place for you to do it. Just go browse, desktop, click OK, and then SQL Server right? Now I've already put that in. Maybe you have one there. I'm just going to choose the one that I already did. I can't even find it. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to put SQL Server as my directory name. And then I'm going to click OK. And it will start extracting, and I'll pause until it's finished. Okay, so it's finished extracting, and it's going to load up my installation center. And then I'm going to go to New SQL Server Standalone Installation or Add Features. You don't want to hit Upgrade, it's New, okay? Okay, so we're going to click New SQL Server Standalone Installation, not Upgrade. Then a new window pops up in a moment. And that new window The first thing you have is license terms, so read it and decide whether that's good for you. And if it's good for you, then accept the license terms. It'll go through some rule checks to make sure that we are okay for installing the software. You may have to do something. It'll tell you what you need to do if you have to do anything before you can install. Then just goes through a couple of more check steps. Okay. Then you're going to get this feature selection screen, and you're going to have a bunch of potential check marks here, right? And you want to make sure that everything is checked. That way you don't miss out on anything. But management tools is pretty important here. This is the ones that will allow us to interact with the SQL Server instance. Just in case, click Select All, or make sure that you click the Select All button anyway. Don't worry about changing any of this stuff unless you have an SSD and you want to go through this process and you know what you're up to, then go ahead and do it at that point. Then you're going to click the next button, and I should have no troubles at this point. Alrighty, now what I'm going to install is the default instance this time. And I've already got a default instance here. You see it says MS SQL Server right here. So when I click Next, it's going to give me an issue. MS SQL Server is already in use. You should not have that issue. So I want you to make sure you click Default Instance and click Next. I'm going to name my instance and call it My Instance. And then I'm going to click Next. So for you, just click Default Instance if you haven't installed SQL Server before. It's going to go again through some checks and balances. We're going to click Next. On this next tab, you have the choice of using Windows Authentication or mixed mode. And Windows Authentication will work right out of the box, but for safety's sake, choose mixed mode and enter a password. Choose whatever password you like. I'm just going to put in a short, quick one, but whatever you write or whatever you use, make sure to write it down somewhere so that you don't forget it. Then click Next. Now, reporting services native mode. If you get this window, just click Install Only. And then it will do the install for you. Again, I'm going to pause until the installation is complete. Okay, so my installation has finished. I should see a whole bunch of green check boxes and the status saying succeeded, and then I'm good to click the close button here and close this window. I have SQL Server Management Studio installed.